It is my pleasure to be able to introduce our wonderful candidate today, and before I do, I'm going to share a little bit about her. Reverend Christine Jeffers has been a licensed minister of religious science for over 22 years. She found religious science in 1984 at the Paradise Church of Religious Science up the hill, and she says it was during the worst and best time of her life. I'm sure some of us can relate to that idea. She reports that the journey to living in close relationship with God as her source continues to be one in which she engages daily through study, meditation, and prayer treatment. Reverend Christine's passion and skill as a teacher of the science of mind began here at the Chico Religious Science Church, where she served as the full-time as the assistant minister to Dr. Carolyn McEwen for 9.5 years. The call to start a new center to the Yuba-Sutter counties took her south to Yuba City from 2003 through 2011, where she was at the center of Yuba-Sutter, and that's where the center was born. Today, Reverend Christine lives in Lakewood, Colorado, and holds a position at Center for Spiritual Living Home Office in Golden, Colorado. As Community Affiliation Coordinator, she supports ministers who want to start new centers and existing centers that are there without a senior minister. Her duties cover a wide range of licensing issues and organization policies where there is never a dull moment, as you can imagine. She is also one of the facilitators that offers the new minister co-creation process for our centers in between ministers. You guys remember that process? Just still have it. As a teacher of the science of mind, her students and workshop attendees report, quote, Reverend Christine's ability to listen and guide individuals in a loving and forthright manner provides a safe environment that result in new personal revelations and changed lives, unquote. Last but not least, and I'm sure parents can relate to that, Christine is mother of a grown son, Aaron, and daughter, Amber. Grammy of 3 boys, and daughter of the amazing Grace, her mother, who is almost 89. Please help me give a wonderful, warm welcome to Reverend Christine.
That was lovely. Thank you. I was told to be myself by many people, and so here I am. I am going to give you a talk. I'm going to give a talk, and gosh, I wish I could see you all better, but that's all right. Okay, I don't need that. Okay. Gosh, there's a lot of stuff up here.
You have to read it all.
Ah. So, a little trip down memory lane for those of you who were here and might remember, excuse me. Yuba-Sutter people that are here, remember that? Blowing the nose, yeah. 22 years ago in June, let me back up. 21 years ago in probably the fall, I stood on this stage here in this building, and Dr. Carolyn, Dr. Mac McEwen, Carolyn and Mac McEwen, and Reverend Doris, who was also a ministerial student with Dr. Mac and was in Red Bluff at that time, were here on the stage, and I was presented my religious science minister license, and it was in the morning during the service, and what I knew then and what I also know today is that the seeds had been planted in me for that moment a long, long time ago. And then a year later, I stood on this stage and I was installed as your assistant minister. And you know what? None of this was planned. It wasn't a planned thing. But what it was, and I know that I'm sharing this with you for a number of reasons. Number one, I want you to know me a little bit better. And there are a lot of you that I don't know. But the other thing is that I know that in some way you can relate to this as well in your spiritual, in your life journey. So, you know, I didn't come out of the womb or grow up thinking that I wanted to be a minister. And when Reverend Lisa says that when I found religious science at the Paradise Church, it was the worst and the best time of my life, is very true. And because it was one of the worst times of my life, that was the impetus that drove me there. Because you may have heard many spiritual teachers say we're either pulled by inspiration or pushed by desperation. Now, today, I stand here before you, pushed by inspiration. And was it a planned thing? No. Have I always had a desire for this moment? And, you know, whatever the outcome, that's not mine. That's not mine to say. Mine is to show up with the yes, in accordance with the inspiration that is moving me. So going back to the worst time, before I actually went to the Sunday service, and it was a friend of mine who told me about the church, I had an appointment with Dr. Carolyn. And so I met her before I went to the service. I hadn't met Dr. Mack, who actually became my first teacher. And this is one of the things that the teaching of the science of mind afforded me. It came through Dr. Carolyn, but it was enlivened and it was inspired by her trust and her faith in the idea that there is one power. That power is God. That power is good, and that power, that presence, is our life now. Not only is it our life, it is who we are in total. And so I sat there, and we talked. And because of her consciousness and what she knew that I didn't know, she was able to see me in a way that I couldn't even see myself. So she saw in me the seeds of goodness. She saw in me the seeds of intelligence. She saw, I don't know what else, she probably also thought, what a mess. But that wasn't the most important thing. And so the seeds that brought me to the moment had been planted in me. So what I want to suggest for all of us is that we come into this life with the seeds of greatness. We come into this life with all the seeds that are necessary to be ourselves, to discover who we are. And the more that we can do the discovering of who we are from a place of understanding the nature of spirit, that spirit is good, that spirit is infinite possibility. Dr. Holmes says early on in the textbook, we see abundance in the universe. We cannot count the grains of sand on a single beach. The earth contains untold riches, and the air is vibrant with power. Why, then, are we afraid? Why do we hold back our passion, that which we love, that which we desire to experience? Oh, not me. That's too big for me. I'm not that smart. No, I have to do this. You know the drill. You know the story that comes up. And so the seeds of greatness are planted with each one of us. And it is through our deepening relationship with God as our source, around us, in us, through us, as us. It's no accident that you chose for your purpose word for your covenant unity. There's only one life, and we're living that life. Now, when it gets down to we're living that life, it's no longer absolute. We have choices. You see, the infinite mind of God, spirit, divine intelligence, the one source that is omnipresent everywhere. It's all knowing, all powerful, everywhere present. It has no choice. That's what it is. Plain and simple. And then out of that, out of the fact that it is creative, out of that, you and I have been created in all of the other aspects of life that we see and we don't see. And so at this level, we have choice. And we have the choice to, as Reverend Lisa said in the contemplation, build buildings, hard, massive, congealed buildings that represent our beliefs. In the co-creation process, we call that blocks and obstacles. But guess what? When we do our spiritual work and align with the presence and the power of the one life of God that is right where we are and deepen our understanding of its nature, know that we are one with it, that that's what we are, guess what? Those blocks and obstacles begin to dissolve. And who you really are, the truth of you, and the inspiration that is wanting to move through you in your own unique way begins to flow. Dr. Holmes calls it, we become the avenue. We become the avenue of expression for the greater idea, the thing that really wants to happen. Our perceptions Well, case in point. After hearing the story of Jonah at Sunday school, a little girl repeated the story at school the following Monday. Her teacher said it was physically impossible for a whale to swallow a human because even though it's a very large mammal, its throat is very small. The little girl said, "But how can that be? Jonah was swallowed by the whale." Well, the teacher began to get rather irritated, and she reiterated that a whale could not swallow a human. It's physically impossible, she said. But undaunted, the little girl said, "Well, when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask Jonah." To which the teacher said, "What if Jonah went to hell?" To which the little girl quickly replied, "Then you ask him."
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, so there's many ways that we can allow that story to teach us, but one of the things is it's our choice. Now, yes, we live in a world that has universal laws like gravity. And at a literal sense, I don't know that much about, the way a whale is, and I learned that from that story. Wow, they have really small, okay, that's rather cool. But that's not the point, of course, because the Bible stories they're parables. The Bible stories are something that we have the opportunity to learn from metaphysically, beyond the physical. But we live in a physical world. We live in the law of gravity. So, if I'm walking on a bridge and I say, well, the seeds of greatness are planted in me, and I come to the end of the bridge, and there's no more bridge, and I go, well, the seeds of greatness are within me, and I step off, I'm going to fall. So I have a choice. Does that change who I really am in potential? No. But it certainly makes this life interesting when we have choice. When we get to, little by little, realize that, yes, I'm a unique, individualized expression of spirit. And I have a commonality with all the rest of humanity. And so my challenge is to first within myself to look beyond my own congealed beliefs that keep me small, no matter what life presents. One of the wonderful things that I believe about living longer and having more experiences is that we see that we really do have what it takes within us to move through them. So I want to make it really clear that it's not ever about our experiences. It's about our perceptions and how we choose to view them. So that little girl believed that it was possible, and the teacher didn't. So maybe as she grows and matures, she might say, well, yeah, I know that literally the whale probably didn't swallow Jonah, But what is that story actually, what does it give me the opportunity to learn and to grow and to go beyond my perceptions? Because my perceptions and how I see things, that's the soil that holds the seeds that we plant. So I have responsibility for all the seeds that have been planted that, were God-given. Because I am a spiritual being, and so are you, every one of you, and everyone out there. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter how they act. We all came out of the one creative process of creation. And so did all of the things, all of the not so welcome things that happen in our experience. When I say that that was the worst time of my life, the reason it was the worst time of my life was not because of the things that were happening. It was because what I believed about them. It was because of the way that I reacted to them. It was because of the way that I tried to resist them and change them and also make it about somebody else. So I've been spiritually minded for a long time, even before I knew about the science of mind teaching and the Church of Religious Science. And I read the self-help books, and I got it. And I said, if they would only. They should know this. If they just did this, this wouldn't be my problem. So, so given that mindset and that belief, I lived in a prison that I constructed myself. Because I was trying to change everything, and I was smart. And I was trying, but see, the thing is that because deep down I didn't believe I was smart, I was attached to all of these other people and these other circumstances. And they were my reason to play small. Did I know that? No. Did I have the opportunity because of the, these God-given seeds that are planted within me to make a different choice? Yes. I could have said, I'm not going to that darn church. They're going to ask me to take responsibility for myself. And actually, I made that choice a few years before I went. I'm like, what? So you know what? I was free, and it became the best time of my life because I had supportive people around me, because I started reading, I started being mentored and having teachers, and my own inner intelligence, myself began to awaken. Does yours do that? Mine still does. So now, here we are. And the seeds that were planted in me have brought me to this moment. And I'm saying a big old yes. And a lot of you have asked me, why do you want to be the minister of our church? Well, I've always been the minister of your church. As a seed, I was born to do this. The seeds were planted in me, not the only seed that I could have cultivated, but it is the one that has freed me. And I am passionate about teaching these principles and supporting people in changing their life. And I still practice changing my false beliefs and allowing myself to become aware of what they are and what the self-imposed blocks and limitations are that live within me. And that is something that I will continue to do up until my last breath. And I believe, because we are evolutionary beings, that I will do that beyond. It's what I'm dedicated to. It is what makes this world a better place, because it makes me a better person. It makes me open to the avenue, to the idea of something greater than just me. And as I become liberated, as I become transformed, I make my life better, and I am then a presence that it participates in making the world a better place. And that's what I want to do with all of you. And I don't want to do it by myself. I want to do it in spiritual community. I want to support you. I want to minister. I want to be with people who are ready for that and need that and asking for that. I want to teach the science of mind. I want to be in community and in collaboration with you about what we want to do collectively out there to make the world a better place. But all the while knowing that whatever we do comes out of our own inspiration. And that what we can do together is so much more than what we can do as individuals out in the world. I truly believe it's never, ever, ever about getting. And just as the Latin said, if you want love, be love. That says it all right there. If you want love, plant seeds of love. The soil, first of all, the seed of love itself is fully contained with everything necessary to blossom and grow. That's why you're here. That's why you're living. And does it mean that you'll never have unloving things happen to you? No. Does it mean that you won't see unloving things going on in the world? No. Jesus said, we're in this world, but we're not of it. The not of it means that I have a choice of how to react and respond. Sometimes when I'm driving on the roads of Colorado, I don't really care for my response. And if it begins to show up very frequently, I've got to do something really, really conscious about it. That's my responsibility. That's my perception. Does it mean I like it? You know? Oh my gosh, I've seen some crazy things around here in Chico. Guess it's not just Colorado. So I have to set my intention when I get into my car, consciously. And know that my vehicle is moving down the road, that I am driving my vehicle in peace, that I go in God's light, that I'm a presence of calm and peace and rationality. And that everyone around me is traveling the same way. And that no matter what happens, I arrive at my destination safe. And so do others. And I love that idea of expanding, to the consciousness where it's no longer just about me arriving safe, but it's everyone around me, that we're all in our right place and, we're calm and there is this invisible connectedness that we're all divinely guided and directed and we're calm and we're peaceful. That's my part. And then sometimes that seed that is planted shows up and it doesn't look anything like that. Have you ever had that happen? It doesn't look anything like what you planted. Well, I'm here to tell you that doesn't matter. What matters is how you respond. See, you planted the seed in yourself. It's the garden of your own consciousness. It's how you react. And you go, well, wow, okay, that happened. We're all good. And we move along. And so I bless myself and I bless others in that way. Now, one other thing I want to share with you before I close. In case you didn't know this, you know this, I'm going to remind you. Because if we are going to be working together and we are going to set some big old hairy goals for our mission, for this spiritual community, we need to be prepared for this. Whether it's something we do collectively or whether it's something that you decide to do in your own life. When you clearly set your intention, when you plant a seed that knows exactly how to manifest itself in the soil, in the infinite soil of mind, if there are any beliefs within you that you hold that are contrary to that idea, they're going to show up. They're like little weeds that come up in our garden. So the thing is that when you set your intention to be love, sometimes everything that is unloving begins to show up. We can't get sidetracked by that. This is what Deepak Chopra says. At some level, we all fear our dragons, our unresolved issues, yet the world's wisdom traditions declare it is the same self that creates the fear, hides from it, and then dispels it. While we are trapped in a view that sees us as separate from our painful past, it is easy to feel like it is a fearsome dragon attacking us from the outside. Chopra suggests the next time you feel the beginnings of anxiety, anger, resentment, or any other negative urge, pause and say to yourself, "This is all me. There is no one else here." What a liberating idea. What a fabulous, transformative idea. So as I set my intention, as I said yes to this, you better believe it, some little things cropped up. Some weeds showed up in my garden that were little stumbling blocks. And for a moment, at different times, I was actually even fooled that it was real and that it was outside of myself. Have you ever heard the, "Oh, it wasn't meant to be"? "Oh yeah, something got in my way. Some big old weed came up in my garden and got in the way." In other words, what I wanted didn't work out, wasn't meant to be. Really? We have work to do. We have work to do together. We have work to do individually. We have work to do out in the community. There will be times that it will be absolutely fabulous and joyful and fun. And there will be times that it'll be challenging. And you know what? You have choice. If you're satisfied with the way that everything is, there's no judgment in that. You don't have to change. You don't have to grow. It's okay. It really. Can I tell one more story?
Oh, yeah.
So that reminded me of when, before I was going to, I'd finished all my classes for ministerial training, and I was going to, I don't know where I was in the process, but it was like decision day. And I was on the phone with Dr. Carolyn, and I was whining. Well, it's going to be so hard, and it's going to be this, and well, I'm not sure about this, and well, you know, the person I was dating at the time, well, he says, you know, and I'm going on and on. And, you know, it was all the weeds. I was just letting all the weeds hang out. And I really, you know, I was so identified with the weeds that in that moment, I was the weed. And she very calmly said, Christine, it's okay. You don't have to do this. And she said it with such compassion, with such love, with such certainty, and she didn't even have all those words out of her mouth yet, and those weeds disappeared. And I said, I just started crying, and I said, yes, I do. I have to do this. Everything has brought me to this place. I am a minister of the science of mind. I want to share this. I didn't go into all those things, but that's what I knew. It was just bang. No more whining. No more indecision. No more weeds. But weeds came up. But as I took steps, you know, I did it, and things happened that I never expected, and there's always been a path out in front. Stepping out into the unknown, always a path out in front. And it will be the same for us as a community. Step into the unknown with faith, knowing God is our source, that the fertilizer of our seed is our passion and our love, that we're not doing what we have to do, that we're doing what we want to do. To me, that's what it's all about. I love you. I love this church. And all of that is because I love this teaching. So let's plant some seeds together. Let's fertilize. Let's pick the weeds. Let's party about it when we can. Let's recognize the history that has brought us to this place. Let's raise and praise the good that is here now, all the things that have taken place. You know, just all of the love that is here, the camaraderie. We really are standing on the shoulders of giants. And what I want to see is decades and generations down the road that others say, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. We stand on the history of this center. And they'll be talking about us. We're the wisdom keepers now. Thank you for the key. We have the key. And it's ours to do with what we will. And I think we can do a lot. So I love you. I bless you. I'm honored to be here. I respect your choice. And I know that all is well. And so it is.